Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome to a special psychic pick a card reading. It's really pick a reading. So what we're gonna do here, I've had a lot of signs reaching out, asking for special little readings for their sign, and I'm more than happy to do that. And probably, well, I know I'll do that. But then something told me to do this reading, that this is going to reach a lot of people, and it's going to be a love reading. I don't think it's all it's going to be. It's going to be life, but I am going to connect psychically to our guides and take it from there. I have a feeling. I just have a feeling. Um, that it's going to be good. So, what I'd like you to do is just take a moment and just calm your mind, calm your energy, let your guides, what's the word? Let your guides, hmm, like, trust your guides. That's what I want to say. Trust your guides as it relates to deciding if you want to take reading one, reading two, or reading three. Uno, dos, tres. But I do want to say many times more than one reading is going to resonate. And also, many times by the time I'm done with all three, sometimes they tell their own story together. So these are going to be pretty detailed, but I feel like they need to be. And again, connecting to my guides who connect to your guides so they know, that you're going to be here, or they may have nudged you here. Just trust within them. Even if you're like, I'm just not sure, they're here. Um, Trust me, they're here. So let's just calm our minds. And while you're doing that, do a little deep breathing and then just decide intuitively one, two, or three. Now, if you're having a hard time making up your mind, just let it be open, and then you can just decide which one you relate to the most. That's really the way it should be. You should relate to it. These are energy readings, so you should feel them. I call them soul to soul readings. It's my soul connecting with your souls, just as our guides really want it. So, again, let's calm our mind. We're going to connect either to one, two, or three. All right, let's go ahead and open this reading up, and we're going to start with one. So I want to let you know that I want to let you know what cards we're using. So I'm using two of the Archangel um, guidance. That's not their actual name. I forgot their actual name, but we're going to use two of them. By the way, I have no clue. When I shuffle, it's face down. I don't want to know what's in the reading until I turn your reading over. So we'll use two of them. I'm also going to use two of the psychic tarots. We are going to use one tarot of dreams, one universal tarot, one light seers, two light seers, sorry, one what I call major arcanas, one clarifying love situations, and one romance angel. Okay, so let's slide these over here. Give ourselves plenty of room. Okay, bring the lid down and let's begin. All right. We have the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles, lack, worry, assistance. Five of Pentacles to me often feels like something that's happened outside of your control. It can feel like a towerish moment, so to speak. It is a 5, so it's meant to give you change. Sometimes I may not think I want this change. Then as I move into that energy, because in the 5 of Pentacles, you're really moving closer and closer to what I call your soulmate tribe or soulmate love. So temporarily difficult energy, but not meant to last forever. We have renewal. This is judgment. This is your spiritual team. Reflection, self-evaluation, and rebirth. So it's interesting because one of the first things the judgment asks of you is that you have your energy in the current moment. This means that there's some type of signs going to be sent to you. I kind of love that it's following the 5 of Pentacles. So, whatever hardship, let's just say I went through within the 5 of Pentacles, this is saying that there's going to be some type of rebirth in your life. Probably, I have a feeling, even if I didn't ask for this change, I have a feeling your guides are, they may have made this, first of all, nobody can make you change, right? Now, someone can end a relationship, that type of thing, but your spiritual team has to let your free will lead the way. They're here to send you signs, to help guide you, to give you this rebirth, renewal. So, whatever was, I feel like that energy is fading away. All right, well, hello, prosperity begins. Ace of Pentacles. Now, this is a love reading. So, this means something's coming or someone's coming into your physical world. If you just look at the image itself, there's 2 different hands that are nurturing this seed. It's turning into what feels like really the tree of your life. But there's 2 hands nurturing that seed. That's all your spiritual team asks you to do. Just nurture it. And it will only grow. It will only blossom. And not one time. It's not like, a one-time blossom. When I see the Ace of Pentacles following judgment, I feel like what it's saying is, there's seeds of intention coming true. There's potentially, what I feel must be really good news. Interesting, I'm seeing this peach. Some of you may be related to Georgia. I'm thinking like Georgia peach. Doesn't have to be. It's like that's the pit. Well, there's the pit. But yet, out of the pit, greatness is growing. Okay. We have, all right. Well, this is good news, actually. So the 8 of Cups, 8 is a new beginning, also number infinity. This is someone who is taking some time looking within their emotional house, trying to find balance, really. This is what I love about this image is they're sitting at the water's edge, and it's like they're just allowing the tides to take their worries away. I feel like this is a bold movement because this will change everything I feel in one's life. Because really, this person, once they do this clearing, let's say, or have an understanding, they're moving to the 9 of Pentacles, which is inner harmony and fulfillment of wishes. Okay, I'm going to slide this over. I wanted to take 5 big ones on the top. One more slide. And then we have, well, hello, 2 of Wands. That kind of seems perfect, to be honest with you. Again, 5-1 or 5 Pentacles, maybe some type of change that I didn't ask for, maybe I wasn't expecting. Nonetheless, it happens. I mean, that's just the fact. It happens. But then your spiritual team, like right there, telling you, we're sending you signs. It probably means that, well, the Ace of Pentacles explains it. That means because we're doing love, this is talking about, um, well, I feel like love walking in your door. Who knows? Maybe they're from Georgia. um, and there's nothing better than accepting what is new after clearing what is old, what is no longer needed, let's say. So this is you agreeing. This is you saying yes. Let's see where this goes. The Two of Wands, it really is what I feel, passionate journey. It's something that's definitely going to pique your interest. And, it all makes sense the way it's falling. This five, a change, but then renewal. And then the Ace of Pentacles comes out. And then this emotional clarity, this eight, a new beginning. And then the new beginning is of the Two of Wands. So, first of all, it's action oriented, but it's also passionate. So, I feel you'll be pulled, intuitively, like, something just feels right here. All right, well, let's keep going. We have, okay, I'm not going to do reversals. Look at this, the Ace of Pentacles again. Is that potentially connecting you to another? We have the Four of Pentacles. We have the Emperor. Card of Aries. However, the meaning of this card, first of all, how do I love that it's coming under this seed that's been planted? And then the Emperor shows up. So if this is talking about the Emperor coming into your life, male or female, by the way, this is someone that we can look up to. This is someone who has a lot of wisdom, both earthly and spiritual wisdom. Definitely cares about their fellow man and woman. And something is just telling me, because we now have two Aces of Pentacles, that this is just feels like it's just coming together. But your spiritual team, now listen, that's why they're calling you to the present moment. All right, well, let's keep going. The Chariot, beautiful. Card of Cancer, and it's coming under a Cancer card, so some of you may relate to that. The Chariot is about unlimited potential. There's no limit to where this love can go. But the Chariot does need balance, first and foremost. Balance of the feminine and the masculine within ourselves, light and the dark. Look at the beautiful rainbow behind it. Nothing to fear here. This clearing of the emotional house seems to like really benefit you so much here. All right, well, let's keep going. All right, so now we're looking at clarifying love situations. Shadowed waters. Beware illusions that skim the surface, for true understanding lies in the deep. And then the romance angel. Stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. Well, yes, it will. So, let's look at this a little deeper. So, we have two Aces of Pentacles. Now, that can certainly mean there's two different things that are about to manifest in your life. But you had a big part of that. I want you to understand that. Like letting go of what was, whatever didn't work out, using the energy of that universal year 9 that we're in right now to kind of clean house, I feel like something happened and it did put you in an emotional state, but it feels like it already happened. It feels like you're very close to clearing that energy. And it feels like as soon as you step upon this new path, because don't forget, five, change, rebirth, new beginnings, new beginning, unlimited potential with someone that I can truly look up to, staying optimistic. I also feel like question you could ask yourself about, let's just say a previous love. Do you feel like the foundation started strong? You know what I mean? Like, do you feel like both were like had the same, let's say, goals or morals? Because it feels like maybe not, and I feel like maybe you yourself have been evolving on a spiritual level. And, one of the things that comes along with that is those who are not, they just kind of, it's just like natural that it would fade out of our life. Our human nature tends to pull it back in again. But this is something new. I'm not going to say it can't be old that's coming back around, but I don't feel like it's someone who gave you a tower, so to speak. The Five Pentacles can mean many different things, but it's not easy energy, period. But look, it's almost like maybe this was karmic, and because I took that time to reflect upon it, understand it better, maybe I realized the foundation of that relationship really didn't have a leg to stand on. So now I know that, right? Now I have this wisdom. So the next relationship I move into, I'm going to think about building that strong foundation. I really see nothing other than the past that is of a negative nature or even hard. Maybe the hardest thing is taking a step onto the new, into the new. Hmm. All right. I'm going to take the Gilded Tarot and we're going to go over these. These are longer readings, but I feel like they need it. Otherwise, I'm just telling you maybe what you want to hear versus what you really need to know. And listen, both can be true at the same time. That is weird. Okay, I'm taking that card. Eight of Pentacles. All right, so for some reason, it just didn't want to shuffle with the rest. Eight of Pentacles. Some of you could be a job that you lost, or a change. But listen, Eight of Pentacles is something new. And let's stop for a second because if it's speaking about love, and maybe one of your questions is, well, look what I just been through. How do I know? How do I know that this is going to work out? Well, the Eight of Pentacles would say if you put your focus on it, then it will only grow. You have the Chariot also as energy that has the potential to truly grow. I do feel like both, of course, need to put their focus on it. But listen, we have two Aces of Pentacles. It's like you're both being ushered by your spiritual team into each other's lives. Innate means you're also allowing yourself to have a new beginning even after the fact. So I feel many of you are healing, but I do feel like you're overcoming. And I feel like that's all your spiritual team is asking for. Not that you even be like 100% healed, but that you understand, like, okay, maybe something didn't work out because maybe it wasn't best for me in the long run. Now, when judgment gets involved in your love life, you can trust, you can trust them. So we have two eights, so two new beginnings, two aces of pentacles. So that means two people coming into each other's lives. No wonder we see two different hands nurturing that seed. We have the moon. When the moon is dry. The moon card of Pisces, also ruler of Cancer. We have a lot of Cancer energy. So funny because I was going to do a special reading for Cancer. And look how Cancer is just showing up everywhere. Now, it doesn't have to be Cancer. Um, something that some of you may, let's just say, fear. And, I don't mean like major, well, for some it can hold you in your tracks, like, So, because the moon really speaks of uncertainties, right? I can only see as far as the moonlight allows me to see, but it is a full moon, so you can see much farther. Also, the moon represents very dreamy type energy. Some of you may have had dreams about someone, they may have remained faceless, but you felt like love, you felt the romance, but maybe you didn't see the person's face. Maybe you did. But I do feel like for some of you, it's like that's how your spiritual team is reaching you. Maybe again, some of you are still trying to overcome this. And I feel like when we're in a state of, well, let me put this a different way. Your spiritual team knows how to reach you. And if they feel like they can't reach you during your waking hours, then they're going to reach you when you're sleeping. It's like astro traveling. Some of you have been doing that. But I feel like this is talking about very dreamy type energy. Three of Swords over that Ace of Pentacles. And look at this, the Seven of Pentacles, which is your tree of life. And this is what these two hands are nurturing. It's like this seed is turning into your tree of life. Seven of Pentacles has a couple different messages. The first message is patience. And that is because certain seeds are coming to fruition. Think of this like an apple tree. Certain apples are becoming ripe and they're ready to be picked. Other apples, not yet, but they're on their way. You know what I mean? Like, not all apples ripen at the same time. So, I also feel in the Seven of Pentacles energy, really everything that's happened was meant to happen. It probably taught you something. Seven is a very spiritual number, and it's coming over this emotional withdrawal. But in the Eight of Cups, and just the image, I do feel like this person is like giving it away, letting it go, letting it be. Hopefully, some of you are feeling that there's this energy of change, but good change. Now, I do have to go back one card to the Three of Swords. So, I feel like the Three of Swords, it's heartache. Someone probably broke your heart. Yeah, what's mirroring it? Stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. So, this Three of Swords is what's already happened. This is not what's Well, let's put it a different way. If I've had this or I've gone through this emotional clarity as much as I can, then the Three of Swords is yesterday's news. So, but I gotta let it be yesterday's news because there are apples. We know at least two are becoming ripe. And, in the Seven of Pentacles, I know some of those seeds, apples, pentacles, whatever you want to call them, I know some of them are predestined. Like with soulmates or twin flames, I often feel that they are predestined of whether they're going to come into each other's life in this lifetime. Wow. Looks like they're coming. By the way, it's just not they're coming into your life, you're coming into their life. Huh. Hello, soulmate. Wow. Over the Two of Wands, by the way. 22. It's really quite beautiful. So, as we remember that we got this tower, something just didn't go the way that I had thought. But again, I feel like it really wasn't built on a strong foundation to start with. It did result in a broken heart. But please don't think that that's the end of your love life because where is it now taking you? To a soulmate. And I love seeing the Emperor as one of the soulmates because honestly, I feel like the Emperor is someone, and I'm not even thinking about the sign. I'm not thinking about Aries. It can be an Aries for you, but I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking of who this person is. This is someone who, it's like they have a degree in life, but they have a degree in spirituality. They they have been through it themselves. You know what I mean? Like they've had their heart broken. It's showing that. They may have some fears, but I feel like your spiritual teams are really going to help. Listen, I feel like because this feels like it's meant to be, I feel like it's going to be one way or the other. All right, let's keep going. And what I'm looking for in these readings are psychic connections, telepathic connections. So a soulmate showing up makes perfect sense because you have known each other for eternity. But this lifetime, you wanted to come into each other's lives. And so it is. All right, we have the Nine of Swords over the Ace of Pentacles. I get that. We have the King of Swords over the Four of Pentacles. Can be Aries, Leo, Sag. No, sorry. I'm giving you fire signs there. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. I don't think we have any of that on the board, but we may. So, Nine of Swords. Wow, that is worry, my friends. That is worry. But the meaning of the card is unnecessary worry. Boy, do I feel like some of your guides are reaching you in your dreams. And, I have to say, that's a message for maybe since January, where I've been getting a lot of those messages that guides are really reaching people through their dreams. And again, why would they reach me through my dreams and not my waking hours? Well, I may not be paying attention. I may be in a state of fear. Now, Everything tells me that this is what you would want, but that doesn't guarantee that there won't be fear. But remember, the meaning of this card is unnecessary. Like, you do not have to fear this. And it is a 9, so I feel like it wants to go away. I don't feel like this is anyone who is going to break your heart. I feel like they themselves have been through heartache, so they know that feeling. And I feel like there's no way they want to repeat it either. King of Swords coming over the Four of Pentacles. With the Moon and Judgment. Oh, all right. We just had the Three of Wands slip around. So, this is great energy. This is the energy of optimism. And it's literally connecting to the romance angels. Stay optimistic about your love life. Okay, that's what I'll do. This is living in the present moment. Another message from your spirit team. Why? Because we'll make sure you get the signs. But you need to be looking, well, first of all, you need to be in the present moment. But know that all is possible. I feel like in the Three of Wands, it's like giving it over to divine and just saying to divine, I trust you. I trust that these ships will come in, and I trust that they'll come in their divine timing. It's completely different than the Nine of Swords. And let's face it, the Nine of Swords with the Three of Swords, what that means to me is someone from the past or very recent past, is their energy, it's like they still have hooks in you. Now, some of you may think that you want those hooks, but what I'm feeling, at least in this reading, is your spiritual team is saying, but my dears, we have your soulmate. And I have a feeling of saying the same thing to the Emperor. You're answering the romance angel's call. Stay optimistic about your love life. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. By the way, 33. Look at the synchronicities. 22, 33, two aces. Well, I know. I'm not going to repeat them all again. But I do have to say that if I decide that yes, I'm going to start being a little bit more optimistic about what the potential of what can be. I'm going to trust within my spiritual team that who's ever meant to come into my life now, which, by the way, is a soulmate, I'm just going to trust that. And I feel you'll feel the difference. You'll feel the difference. We have beautiful, the sun. That's your illuminator. The sun's like a brand new day. Do you ever have one of those days where you're like, I just want this day to end? Well, when the sun comes out, you want that day to last as long as it can. It feels like it carries some romance with it. Playfulness. And, the sun, you can look at it as your protector also, because when the sun comes out in a reading, it illuminates everything. It is illuminating the Seven of Pentacles, your tree of life. It's illuminating this potential. And the potential is as far as you want to go. It's a reminder that anything that's done in the dark will come to the light. That's why you don't need this worry. Maybe someone cheated on you in the past and Listen, I've had that happen to me, and then you worry that the next person's going to do the same thing. But because judgment, your spiritual team is ushering this in, I really feel like those worries, understandable, but there won't be a need for them. I mean, that is such a beautiful omen. And by the way, we have the feminine and the masculine. All right, let's see if anything else wants to come out. We have the Six of Swords. Beautiful. It's mirroring the Nine of Swords. This is really called moving on. This is you with the realization of anything, anyone that's been toxic in your life that's stunted your own growth. Like, I don't know. Sometimes we can give the wrong person so much of our time, our energy. We want to fix them, that type of thing. But this is like saying, no, don't spend your time trying to fix them. You know, their spiritual team will handle that. But this is you moving on from the toxicity. How beautiful is that? Now, even the Six of Swords temporarily can be difficult because you are going through a change. And really, it's only for those who, that a change is hard. But I have to tell you, this feels to me like freedom. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles, heart of Virgo. This is success. I feel like if anyone lost a job, there may be an opportunity for you to start something on your own, something that you'll call your own baby. This is a very independent energy. Where that foundation was weak, maybe that was part of it. Like you weren't feeling independent. Maybe you were codependent, but not anymore. Not anymore. So I like how the Nine of Pentacles replaced the Nine of Swords. This is you really feeling strong within yourself. And I feel like, like I don't feel like I'm looking for a hero to come in and save my life. Not when the Nine of Pentacles shows up. This is you feeling strong on your own. But what beautiful energy to feel like that. And then this soulmate love enter. You know, Staying optimistic feels like the biggest message here. Trusting that these seeds, they'll find you and you'll find them. Like, especially with the sun here. Like, I feel like when you meet this soulmate, whether, they could be from your childhood, past lives, the last two readings I did really spoke about past life into current life, and they were, not to toot my own horn, but I thought they were amazing. I thought the clarity was like off the charts. Matter of fact, I just put out a community post where I connected the two of them because I know they were meant to follow each other. So anyways, this is kind of beautiful, guys. I feel like the people I have right now, you're going through a change. Again, you may not have asked for it, but it is to serve you. It's to make your life better, not worse. Matter of fact, I feel like with the Six of Swords, that tells us there was toxicity. The Three of Swords tells me that your heart got broken. And even the Nine of Swords is like, well, how do I just allow my heart to love again? Well, maybe all you need to do is take a step into it. And it's not even like taking a step into love. It's like reclaiming your life. Freedom is what I'm feeling, like this sense of freedom. And then, well, that just feels like divine timing to me. All right, let's just see if anything else wants to come out, and then we'll let this one be. But please don't overlook the synchronicities because these soulmates are both getting the Ace of Pentacles. And that means guidance into each other's physical life. Like this isn't something, though the moon is very dreamy type energy, this is manifesting. And probably sooner versus later, but I feel like your energy has a lot to do with it also. Because I do feel like, like you don't have to free your thoughts, but if you don't, then are you not just taking yesterday's baggage into the potential of a new relationship? Maybe you don't know immediately that it's a soulmate, but something's going to give you a clue. And what I love about this image is number one, they're looking through each other's eyes, and the eyes are the window to our soul. So eventually, these two are going to recognize that they are soulmates, and probably sooner versus later. So I feel like this is just saying, like, some of the change has happened. It's definitely to serve you because I feel like what you've been through, that was the difficult part. This is the loving part. This, and you feeling strong instead of fearful. That alone is where I feel freedom. Now, freedom to love, but freedom to be who you are. And that's what this reflection's been about. Okay, I'm going to let that one be. I don't want to make him too long, but I feel like the message was pretty clear. Let's just pick these up. I'll sort through them later. I feel like I want to leave. Where'd they go? Where the heck did the soul? Oh, I put them away. I was going to say I wanted to leave the soulmates on top, but we'll just remember that. Okay, there's reading one. Reading number two. Oh, clear your mind and the rest will follow. Just take a moment. Open up your mind. Open up your intuition. Let me just readjust. Sit with my legs crossed and my feet go numb. All right. Number two. Interesting how they're both opening up so far with kind of difficult energy. Eight of Swords is a self-created prison. Look at the weather. It's cold. Like, this is not a prison I want to be in. Self-doubt, confusion, free will. What's the free will? The free will is breaking yourself free. Remember, this is self-created. So the only one who can break themselves free from it is the one who created it. But it is innate. So again, a new beginning. We have the Nine of Pentacles. Confident, luxury, independent. We have, interesting, we're getting a lot of the same cards. Shadow, which is the moon. I love this image because, literally you can see like your light side talking to your shadow side. And I feel like we need to know our shadow side. Like we need to know ourselves. But card of Pisces, ruler of Cancer. We have, interesting how we had the Emperor in the first reading. We have the Emperor now in this, or the Empress in the second reading. The mother figure. Six of Cups. Well, I have to say, Six of Cups and the Eight of Swords don't really go together because the Six of Cups is about treasured memories. It's nostalgia. But I just have a feeling that some of you've gone through something difficult, and I feel like there might have been someone special on your mind, like maybe someone that you used to know. And, I want to say you may have fantasized about, like, I wonder what that would have been like if we stayed together. And the Empress, no way would she live in the Eight of Swords. So that tells me that you are freeing yourself. And I feel like be proud of that. You know, in the Eight of Swords, that barrier, those walls are because we're not trusting our intuition. Our intuition is our GPS. It will guide us. We just have to trust it. Some may say, well, I feel like maybe I did, but then I ended up here. Well, you could have read it wrong, or there could have been a lesson. And sometimes the lessons, we overthink them. It's funny, I'm looking at the Nine of Pentacles card of Virgo. What's one of their traits? Overthinking. So there could certainly have been something I was overthinking. Um, but you do have to set yourself free. But I do feel like for some of you, and I feel like you do set yourself free because the Empress, again, would not live in the Eight of Swords energy. She's learned that that her intuition is her guiding light. This is someone who has learned to keep her heart open. She's very loving and nurturing, but she's also very powerful. And her power comes from her experiences, the things that she has overcome. It's what's made her who she is today. It's a very creative energy, also. I like that with the Nine of Pentacles. So, I just want to say if any of you are creating from this loving, nurturing Empress's energy, wow, then I feel like success will just follow. Yeah, and I don't want to forget that I also feel there's someone else. All right, we have the Six of Pentacles under the Eight of Swords. Six of Pentacles, by the way, 66. Here we go. 66. Um, Six of Pentacles is that fine art of give and take. We have the Eight of Pentacles, 88, 66. Under the Nine of Pentacles, I get the feeling here, the person or the people I have here, I feel like you did set yourself free. And I feel like while you were in like a certain energy, I do feel like there was someone in your heart, like on your mind. I do feel like this energy of like, I wonder what would have been. Yet I also feel with the Empress that she is definitely someone who uses her creativity. We're all receiving ideas and epiphanies, but the Empress really allows her intuition to rule the day, not fear. All right. We have the death card of Scorpio, but just read what it says, death slash rebirth. Something is telling me, it's pulling me back to the Six of Cups. It's going to be someone that you knew from your childhood or your young, like the younger years. Justice. Card of Libra. Beyond compare. Don't compare your love to anyone else. It's unique. Oh, okay. And then we have, oh my God, past life relationship. So I don't know if you stuck around for the first one, but I said in the first reading that the last two readings I did, the first one was a past life reading, which is one of my favorite readings to do. And what I do in a past life reading is I connect the past life to the current life. But then right after that, I normally do a twin flame reading. But I decided to call it Soulmates and Twin Flames. And man, were they speaking to each other. And I'm saying that because this is connecting you to that, reading, but it's connecting you to someone. You have known each other before. Hello, Six of Cups. Hello, Six of Cups. Don't compare your love to anyone else's. It's unique. Well, the Empress, let me tell you, well, I was going to say if you're a man, but I guess you could be a woman too. You know, the love of the Empress is quite a beautiful thing. Same as the Emperor. They're different, but they have the same goals in mind. I have a feeling like reading one may have filled us in on the Emperor, and reading two is filling us in on the Empress. I just have a feeling. So I feel like the Empress had to use that sword of justice, which is also a gift, by the way. And, many people may be like, why would that be a gift? Because it gives you the ability to cut ties to what is no longer serving you. And coming under the Empress, she knows exactly what ties need to be cut. Number one, she must have broken herself free. And, I feel like part of the situation that was something that was unbalanced because the Six of Pentacles talks about, the giver and the taker. But is it going both ways? Or is one just the giver and one's just the taker? Death card telling you there's about to be a rebirth. The Empress sitting next to the shadow, where again I feel the energy of the light looking at the shadow self. Well, that's exactly what the Empress has done. I love that her heart chakra is being activated, sitting right next to the Six of Cups. Beyond compare. This almost feels like, let's just say, like a teenage love that maybe was not meant to go further than the teenage years. It reminds me of my story in a way. But what it's connecting you to is this past life relationship. It's just not showing, hey, past life relationship. It's telling you that this is the energy that's coming in. This is the reason why I'm doing this reading. So, the death, the one energy, and the rebirth to another. Well, that makes sense with the Six of Pentacles or the Six of Cups. All right, let's bring in the Gilded Tarot, but let's give it a couple good shuffles. You know, although this is a love reading, I also want to say, boy, do I feel like financial potential here. I feel like not just, I feel success. I feel someone is either on their way to this success. And, even though we don't have the Nine of Pentacles, oh, yeah, we do have the Nine of Pentacles. Okay. Because I was going to say, I felt this sense of independence. I get the feeling also that the Empress is still receiving more epiphanies as it relates to what she does, just to help her to, like, because I feel like she's doing something very, very good for the rest of us. All right, let's go ahead and give him a cut since this is a new reading. All right. Hello, Empress again. Over the Eight of Swords. Ah, there's that Four of Pentacles again. Over the Nine of Pentacles. Listen, I'm telling you, there's some of you in here where you are building yourself such a strong foundation. You are building yourself a strong foundation. Now, some of you may be a single mom, so, yes, it will benefit others, um, benefit your family. But man, do I feel your potential in this reading. And it feels like exactly like it was meant to be. So that Eight of Swords, it was an important lesson because it's what moved you into the energy of the Empress. Now the Empress being right over the Eight of Swords. So there's no denying it, right? And again, the Empress may say, I'm busy, I'm creating, I'm working, I'm evolving, all that. And she may, even though her heart is loving and nurturing, she may have said, like, I really want to concentrate on my finances, which is not a problem, like, because I see true financial growth here. But this love is also meant to be. We have, hello, Knight of Swords. I feel like that's going to be communication. And then we have, wow, the Knight of Wands. So that communication immediately feels the Empress full of passion. Immediately. It's like an old phone call from an old friend that just sets your heart on fire. Let me slide these out of there. Put that there. Like, hello, old friend. How are you? It may come in as like just a simple conversation, like, hey, I've been thinking about you. Well, I feel like you've been thinking about them also. Doesn't mean that you had any plan of moving towards them. It does remind me of Sam and I because we were together as teenagers and then we broke up and went on our own for 40 some years before we came back together. But there was many times that I thought about us. Like, especially when I laid my head down at night, you know, um, wondering what could have been, that type of thing. And that was during some of my difficult, when I was going through some difficult energy. And then my phone rang out of the blue, just like that, changed both of our lives. Because once that communication began, it never stopped. We didn't live in the same state. So 5 years of let's just say the rebirth of this relationship was on the phone. But I would not take that back because it's literally getting to know each other again. And that's kind of what I'm feeling here. That's the only reason why I bring up my own story. Two Pentacles. Well, that makes sense, because the Empress, two Pentacles, they call it the juggler. Um, but it is a decision. Excuse me. It is you making a decision. It's a yes or a no type of decision. But some of you may be like, okay, I'm pretty busy with what I'm doing now, what I'm creating. Do I really want to bring love into the equation? And even if you're like uncertain, I feel like it's going to be almost impossible to say no. And then we have the Hierophant. Beautiful. So definitely the light. You know why I love this? Because we do have this past life relationship, literally telling you that you have known each other before. And interesting is coming over the death card. So again, I can't help but feel like for some of you, if you have not watched that past life reading, um, or even the soulmate slash, I think I put soulmate slash twins, I would recommend it. I know the past life reading is like 2 hours long. So, like, I know some of you are going to be like, that's kind of long, Sandy. But it's what it needed to be honest. Anyway, death, rebirth. It's like previous life, current life. But yet, I also feel the energy of younger life, current, like younger time, current time. There's about to be a rebirth. And the Hierophant opening up the second line. So to me, first of all, it is a five. So I feel like often in this energy, it wants you to question, am I living life according to my own morals? You know, are the people in my life, do they have, not that they have to have the same goals, but I feel like it's better that they're on the same vibrational energy, so to speak. Though don't get me wrong, because I feel like some of you are really helping people who may not have a high vibration, but you're helping to lift their vibration. And what a beautiful thing that is. Also, Carter by the way. I love these two knights. I just love them because I feel like some type of communication, whether it be like an actual phone call, a text, like a reply on a post, like out of nowhere. All right, we have the tower. Hmm. Okay, so I feel like the tower is speaking to the Eight of Swords. It's like someone has fallen from grace. Your grace. But ultimately, what's happening because of that, it's opening up a new beginning for you. And it just feels like it's the way it was meant to be. So again, we can't get hung up on these towers forever. Yes, we should take the time to, I feel like number one, evaluate them, like what happened in that energy. But then also like move on from them. Interesting because it's coming under that Four of Pentacles. And it reminds me again of the last reading where something, it could certainly talk about something that wasn't built on a strong foundation. And that is probably a lesson learned. Something is telling me also for some of you, this may be related to a past life. There may have been something left unfulfilled, and now you have an opportunity to fulfill it. Remember, you can always say no, but what I would say is just to allow yourself to feel the energy before you make any decisions. Like, just feel it for a minute. Hello, sun again. Beautiful. Look at that. Masculine, feminine, together. Together. I feel like when this communication comes in, it's like the sun comes out. It's like realizations that maybe I haven't even thought about before. I'm starting to think about now. Again, that sun illuminates everything for you. And I love the Six of Cups with the sun because they're both very playful type energies. The one thing I feel like the love is saying is let's have some fun. Let's have some fun first. Like, this isn't about, connecting and then going right to marriage, let's say. This is about the journey and the fun and the passion that I feel like this journey brings. Again, past life connection. But with the sun there, you'll figure that out. Like, again, I feel like that will be a conversation. Maybe down the road a little, but maybe not. Like I say, down the road, but I feel like not that far down the road, especially in the Empress's energy, because um, her intuition leads the way, not fear. We have Five of Pentacles over Justice, so that makes sense. To me, this is you potentially giving someone a tower. This is you ending something that, just didn't work. Could be a marriage, an old marriage, an ex. I would now say that you're either going through the process or the process is now complete. We have the beautiful Knight of Pentacles. This is your guardian angel energy. And I have to tell you, I feel like this is always a very special message. Knight of Pentacles, it is about patience, but sometimes the patience is divine waiting on us, waiting till we're in place, so to speak, or maybe waiting till we're free. I have to tell you, with Sam and I was free. I'd left someone I had been with for 25 years. I was only single for 2 weeks when that call came in, that fated call. So the Knight of Pentacles is a reminder that I come at the right time, not before, not after. And that may have something to do with using that sword of justice. Because the one thing I feel like the Empress has had realization over is the times where maybe she did create that prison, so to speak. Maybe certain things in her life forced her to look within her spirituality. I feel like when we start to enter into, let's just say, our spirituality, it's usually something dark. It's usually something hard, something that brings us to our knees where we're seeking the light. Well, this Empress has found the light. And now the Knight of Pentacles. This knight is just like the last reading where there were two Aces of Pentacles. Well, that's what this knight brings in, something into your physical world. And then, interesting, we have Justice again. So, double Libra, number one. But boy, do I feel, again, maybe similarities. Like two people who could have gone through a divorce. Um, Definitely feels like, it definitely feels like my growth came from some difficult situations, but your growth did come. And that's what's important here. The sun is right in the middle of this reading, and what it's illuminating is the Knight of Swords. So, to me, that means whatever communication is coming in and however it's coming in, it feels like it is of the truth. And it does feel like it's meant to turn playful. Maybe just have a little fun and see where it takes you. But I don't know how you won't recognize, each other because you have had past lives together. And this just feels like, you remember how I said, well, you may not have watched that reading, but often feel like in the Seven of Pentacles, it's your tree of life. And I feel like some of those seeds are predestined. Well, because we have a past life relationship here that's coming over the death card / rebirth. And we have someone that we already know. But remember, in a Six of Cups, this is someone that when I'm thinking about them, I have good memories. And I feel like they are the ones that are going to do the now. Okay, let me finish my statement. They're the ones who are going to communicate because I see you in that question mode. But it's not a fear-based energy. So you're not making a decision out of fear. I feel like you're just literally saying, this is something that I now want. But I feel the passion will outrule that. So, I don't want to I don't want to tell anybody what they should be doing with their lives. But this just feels like you're meant to feel this. This feels like divine timing to me. Again, if we remember, the Knight of Pentacles says, I come at the right time. Well, he's connected right to the Six of Cups and beyond compare. Don't compare your love to anyone else. It's unique. I mean, how beautiful that your guardian angel is ushering this in the right time, which to me is divine timing. And it's telling you that this is a love that you cannot compare to any other love because it's different. It's past lives. That means you're soulmates or twin flames. And I'm saying past lives, but I also feel there's a lot of you where I feel like you know who this person is. And again, I feel this feeling of, I may have been thinking about him all these years. I probably wasn't proactive. It's just something I did when I laid my head down on the pillow at night, not even thinking of manifesting, but nonetheless, here it is. And I feel like, it's taken some time. I do feel like there's time in between, you know, our younger life and when this is now coming back around. But it's coming in the sun. Guardian angel is ushering it in. Everything tells me it's of the light, even of the truth, and the way it's going to make you feel, I feel is a big clue. Especially if you feel that you can call yourself the Empress. What I mean by that, that means that you have not closed your heart down. Doesn't mean that you'll give it to anyone. Those are the lessons you've learned. And because you are at a much higher vibration, well, the law of attraction, it has to meet you where you're at. If I'm in the Eight of Swords, chances are it's just going to bring me back more things to worry about. But when I break myself free and start to understand that I have the pen to write the chapter of my life, well, why wouldn't I make it exciting? Okay, I'm going to let that one be. And we are now moving on to number 3. I feel like I just put the wrong cards in there. All right. Number 3. Let me grab a drink real quick. I love doing pick a card. Oh, excuse me. I just knocked over my. And I don't know where it went. Dang it. Okay. What was I going to say? Um, I love these pick a card readings because I feel like we can reach a lot of people through these readings. Um, though I am still going to do special readings for special sign. Like what I do is if I have a certain sign reach out, like I did a Scorpio special reading, but I had a lot of Scorpios reach out. So if I have a lot of signs of the same sign reach out, then I know they need that special reading. Um, so I already know a few, but you can certainly leave that comment underneath also. So I would ask you again, totally up to you, but for some of you, the past life reading and the current like soulmate slash twin flame reading I did, and I'm telling you, they go together. Um, this also feels like part of it. Feels like we're continuing. All right, number 3. Let me just calm my mind. Right. 6 of Cups. Memories, childhood, nostalgia. The 3 of Cups. Huh. Joy, celebration, community, friendships. Right next to the 6 of Cups. Patience. This is temperance. This is about divine timing. All in its divine timing, my child. It means temperance is busy. I often feel temperance is mixing the loving waters of the soulmates, but both cups need to be equally filled. We have solitude. This is the Hermit, card of Virgo. And then we have the Palace of Wands. So first of all, I want to say this is a beautiful line we have right now. Palace of Wands, I feel like is an ultimate goal. Like where I'd like to reach. I feel like Temperance, who's right in the middle at this second, is talking about divine timing. Man, I feel like in this it's almost like we're looking, like the first reading, we're looking at the Emperor. The second reading, we're looking at the Empress, but also someone of the past. This reading feels like, again, someone of the past, but maybe we're seeing it through their eyes now. We'll see, but something is telling me that. Temperance is ushering something in. And right next to it, solitude, number 9, reflection. I have a feeling I'm seeing this one star, just one. That's all I need. It's like one wish coming true. And then putting you in what I feel like is the ultimate goal, the Palace of Wands. Well, that palace is full of passion. It's action oriented. It's desirable, of course. We have, hello, Ace of Cups. Oh my gosh, under the Six of Cups. Love, love, love. King of Pentacles. Can be a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. But it doesn't have to be. Let me tell you what I feel like this is representing here. Loyalty. Trustworthy. Someone who has their life together. Doesn't mean they always have. But at this point, I feel like they do. I feel like this is someone who has always loved you. Doesn't mean I've always been with you. Doesn't even mean that I've been proactive. But I feel like this is someone who's always loved you. I feel like this king is very laid back. Look at him surrounded by books. So he has a lot of wisdom. But I feel like it's more than book smarts. Look at the big pentacle he's holding. It's like he's got his own money. That's good. That's good. We have the Page of Cups. That's like your inner child. I'm going to slide these over a little. How interesting, because I feel like this is the younger version of you. And I feel like this king has always loved you. I feel like you do know each other. I feel like Temperance is also helping to bring this together, because there is going to be a reason to celebrate, and this king is involved in that celebration. Well, what could we be celebrating? The Ace of Cups. So it's like this king, who I feel is in current energy, is remembering the younger you. Like, I never stopped loving you. Doesn't mean that each of us didn't go on to live our own lives. We did. But, it's interesting because now I feel like we have the king with his head down on the pillow at night thinking about you. It's like you're manifesting each other. Well, hello, star. Your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. So if this is something you've been wishing for, feels like it's about to manifest. The one thing I want to remind you about with the star, it is about manifesting your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. But it does need your human action at the same time. Interesting, it's coming under solitude. I feel like when this king gets lonely, I have a feeling this king is single. Maybe divorced, but I don't feel like he's tied to anyone right now because I feel like this king is on a journey to you. And because temperance is involved, which is about divine timing, well, he's just listening to his guides. We have trusted ties, build rapport, believe in mutual respect, and respond with understanding. And then last but not least, release your ex. Well, there's a reason. The time has come to clear your energy. That might be what temperance is waiting for. Because I feel like this king is single. And if he's not single, I feel like his foot's out the door. I just feel like this is our person from the last reading. And now we're seeing what they're thinking about. Wow. Some of you may still be connected to someone, but I feel like if you are, chances are you're ready to go. Or let's put it a different way. If this king, because I feel like both readings are connected, reaches out. And by the way, you can reach out also. We don't always have to wait for the other person. But are you ready? That's the thing. That's what temperance wants to know. And let's not forget, temperance is really, to me, the controller of the soulmates and their timing. So releasing an ex, would only make sense. Some of you already have, but maybe you just haven't reclaimed your energy. Page of Cups can certainly speak about your inner child, but also allowing that inner child to heal and to have some adventures. Because this does feel like an adventure. But let's not forget the Ace of Cups and the Six of Cups connected with temperance really helping to usher this in. The star. It's like maybe something this king has always wanted, but maybe just never knew if the timing would be right. I think this king's just going to take a chance. Some of you could be connected to someone else and then your phone rings. And that may be like that final straw, like, okay, I'm now releasing my ex. Because remember, this love that's coming in, which is this Ace of Cups, It just feels like, well, even if we look at the other side of this image, frozen heart, we could have gotten that, but we didn't. We got the reversal of that. Trusted ties. All right. Let's go ahead and give the Gilded Tarot a couple shuffles. Couple shuffles. One more. Give him a cut. Okay. You know, I feel like there will eventually be a conversation where someone's going to say, I never stopped loving you. Yes, I probably had other love in my life, but not compared to you. We have the Chariot, beautiful, unlimited potential. Also, card of Cancer. You know, some of you may be jumping in a car and maybe you're going back home, or vice versa. Judgment, beautiful. You know, when you see judgment, know that something is opening up sooner versus later. That's why you're being called into the present moment. And then next to temperance, which is about trusting in divine timing. Well, that tells me divine timing is right here. We have the Four of Pentacles, and then we have Justice. Well, that makes sense because I do feel like for some of you, you may be connected to another. And this may be the final push that you needed to like break yourself free. You know, when justice shows up in a reading though, it's also to make you whole again. You know, what's fair and just to you? Well, I feel like some of you have been reflecting over that. Like this doesn't like the life that I'm in doesn't seem fair. I'm not saying that other parts of your life aren't going great, but there does seem to be one element. Well, I feel like you would know because I feel like you've done the reflection over that. But I just want to say I wouldn't be surprised, just like in the last reading, because that's the way I felt it went, where something happens out of the blue, though it's all part of Divine's master plan and your master plan that helps you make that final decision. Because I don't feel like you're living your dreams as it relates to love, not in this reading. But I feel like this is the opportunity to now live that. I do feel like some of you, you may be leaving, like us, you may be leaving a house, you may be going back to a place of, you know, it can be like where you grew up, maybe where this person lives, or it could be the other way around. But in a way, I kind of like, I don't want you to focus on that because the chariot really is speaking about the feminine and the masculine being both a balanced energy. Well, that's the perfect time. Card of Libra also. Eight of Wands. What I think about, I bring about. What I think about, I bring about. Also, fast moving energy coming over the Palace of Wands. It's like you are going to be living in this palace. Now, this palace could be a cottage, but I feel like it's going to be full of love, full of adventure, full of playfulness. And this is your thoughts and their thoughts bringing it together. And, and sometimes it's not that I even meant to bring it together. It's just that, again, this king is saying that I've always loved you. Okay. We have the King of Wands, can be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We have beautiful, the Hierophant right over the King, card of Taurus. We'll put these out and then we'll look at them. We have the Ten of Pentacles, beautiful, House of Abundance, but I also feel that's a house of loyalty. We have the Page of Wands, my little risk taker. Now we have two pages. And then look at this, the Ace of Cups again. So where the one reading got two Aces of Pentacles, this one has two Aces of Cups. When I think about it, I bring about. What am I bringing about? This love. Two pages. Both the pages are sharing the star, but also temperance, divine timing. And I feel like both have, grown up, so to speak. I love the Hierophant coming over the King of Pentacles. Now, it could certainly represent a Taurus, but again, I feel like it is about one's belief system, one's morals, and how one is living their life. And, I feel like when you're in that type of energy, it's important that other people, they don't have to have like the same religion that I have. I'm not even thinking about religion, but certain goals, morals. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have no interest in being with anyone who's going to cheat. I don't see anything here except release your ex, but I feel like that's what you're doing with justice. And what replaces that? The Ten of Pentacles. Let's just take one down here, or whatever wants to come out. But look at these aces mirroring each other. And just in that last reading, where I thought some of you put your head down at night, you're thinking about someone of the past. I feel like they're doing the exact same thing. For some reason, I feel like they're more in movement than you are. But maybe that's how it's meant to be. Again, in this reading, the energy of releasing your ex, and maybe that is why they're making the move. Maybe that's going to help you make that ultimate decision. And again, I get the sense of there is no comparison of this love versus other love that I've had. And there are different versions of love. Lower vibrational love, love of this only meant to last for a period of time. And I feel like that type of love, especially if they were soulmates, they're getting us ready for our ultimate love. All right, well, didn't plan on taking this many, but we'll take them. We have the moon again, The moon seems to be a big part of these readings. So I'm wondering if, boy, I wish, I don't even know what day it is. That's so funny. When you work from home, you lose dates. Like, I don't know what the date is. I think today's Monday. It is Monday because yesterday was Mother's Day. Um, but I don't know why I was saying all that. Knight of Wands, right over the King. Well, hello. Knight of Cups. Wow. So interesting because I thought, oh, I wonder if we're going to get the Knight of Swords like we did in the last reading. But instead, we get the Knight of Cups. Unexpected cup of love. Unexpected cup of fulfillment. Coming over, release your ex. But it's following this Knight of Wands. So I feel like this king is going to reach out and it's going to start the ball rolling. I don't feel like you expect it. Now, I do want you to know it can be the other way around, but I feel like the last reading and this reading, I feel like they're speaking to each other. Actually, I feel like they're all speaking to each other. So, anyways, unexpected couple fulfillment. And who's directing it? Temperance. Divine timing. That means there's nothing here to fear. That means it was always meant to be this way. Look at this love. Look at this love. We have the Nine of Wands, reflection. Hello, Empress. Now, I feel like someone is calling you their Empress. And then the Sun again. You know, all three readings I feel are being very clear. Though I do want to state that, it looks so beautiful, right? But don't forget to like pay attention to the little steps that help us get to our ultimate goals. That's what divine and your spiritual team, that's what they're here for. They're here to help you get to your ultimate goal. But there also was probably some lessons, soul lessons that your soul wanted to have in this lifetime. It's not all about love, but love is a big component also. How do I love the Ten of Pentacles right in the middle of the reading? The house of abundance, the house that takes root, the house that can last forever. I feel like this king has been thinking about you for a long time. I feel like this king ultimately came to the decision that you're the one that they want to spend the rest of their life with. The Nine of Wands is about reflecting back, but not with judgment. It's really to understand how I have grown, things I have learned through my experiences. And I love the Page of Wands right above that because, very much like my Fool, this is someone who's willing to take a chance. The Page is someone who I feel, has fallen, but this is someone who gets back up again. It may take a moment. That's okay. They do get back up again. But I feel like what you're taking a chance in is love. I feel like this person looks at you in such a special way. They're looking at you as the Empress. And to me, that means that they'll love all parts of you. And by the way, you're going to love all parts of them. The sun feels like the guiding light for this king. And the sun is true realization for you and for him or her. But look at what's coming in, the Knight of Cups. That only makes sense with the Ace of Cups on each side of this line. But I feel like the main thing here is this person has never stopped thinking about you. This person has never stopped loving you. And this person has a very high view of you. And I don't think you stop thinking about them either. I do feel like each went on to live their lives, of course. But justice and release your ex, whether this unexpected cup of love comes in first or it gives you like that ultimate answer. So I feel like we are seeing the other side. We saw your side, now we're seeing their side. But my God, they have never stopped loving you. And that's just that. You know, yes, you can say no. No, you can say yes. That didn't make sense. I can tell you this, if you're connected to someone that you don't really love, and this person enters your life in some way, chances are communication, then I feel like you make that ultimate decision to then move on. Doesn't mean you move directly in with them, though we do have the Ten of Pentacles like boom. And there's so much light. Like there's so much clarity. There really seems to be nothing to fear here. Everything feels like if I have any fear and I ask my guides about it, I feel like instantly you'll receive an answer. But let's not forget, it's judgment right here. Who's ushering this in along with temperance, divine timing? These readings, they're separate, yes. But my God, do they talk to each other? But I'll leave that up to you. All right. I think I'm going to let this one be. Um, just trying to see if there's anything else. I don't know if I talked about the King of Wands. King of Wands could be an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We have two different kings. And I feel like when you have different people, it just, we have a lot of different. It's so weird. All of a sudden, my hearing, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like tunneled. Very strange. It's on my left for love. I don't know if any of you grew up with that saying, like, if your ears are ringing, right for spite, left for love. Well, it's my left ear that it just feels, well, it's gone now. But it felt like I was in a tunnel. All right. I'm going to let this be. Um, please feel free to ask your guides to really give you clarification. Don't think that this can't happen to you. It happened to me, and I'm just a normal person. You know what I mean? Like, literally, I was living with someone for 25 years. I was 2 weeks single. And then, out of the blue, my phone rang. And we now live together. So, that's all I'm saying. And by the way, I do personal readings all the time. And I see it in personal readings all the time. And I think back in 2024, there was a couple things I predicted. And one of the things was that soulmates were going to come together in this life. And another thing was that there was going to be a lot of spiritual awakenings. And when you have a spiritual awakening, the truth is the truth. You know what I mean? So this king is like, I know who truly has my heart. And it's time for me to see if they still have my heart. Well, clearly they do. Okay, I'm going to let that be, guys. I will have all of them time stamped. Of course, 1 and 2 is probably gone already. Um, I don't know. I just found them quite beautiful. And I can't help but see the connection again to the past life and then the soulmate and twin flame reading. I just can't help it. It's like, and I did those 2 readings. Well, I took yesterday off. So I think I did them Friday and Saturday. But yet their energy is sticking around. Like their energy is not done. So, all right, I'm going to let that be. I love you guys. I thank you. And I thank you for sharing my videos. I feel like that may be one of the most important ways to help someone grow, just by sharing. Of course, there's no way I would ask you to do that if you feel uncomfortable doing that. You know, no, I would never ask that. Um, I just thank you in all the ways you support this channel and you support me. I feel your love and I love you so much. That's why I do these. That's why I do these. All right, guys. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.